Hello, beautiful, and welcome to the Finding Fertility podcast. I'm Monica, your mentor in uncovering the hidden layers of your fertility journey. Together, we'll discover the right path for you within the 6 essential steps to creating the family of your dreams. We'll ditch the overwhelm, tune into your intuition, and build a vibrant foundation for your fertility. Whether it's through gut health, subconscious healing, or energetic alignment, you can unlock your body's natural power to get and stay pregnant. Your fertility journey is all about radical responsibility and deeply believing that your body is on your side. It's time to stay consistent, embrace trust, surrender, and create the transformation you deserve. Finding Fertility does not diagnose, prescribe, or treat any fertility issues. What we do is empower you to take control of your health by uncovering the root causes holding you back. Let's do this together. Happy Friday, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Finding Fertility. I'm your host, Monica Cox, and I am incredibly honored you are here with me, becoming the conscious mama you were born to be. Today, we have the second half of Kristen's interview. I really hope you're enjoying it. I think this woman is a wealth of knowledge. She's created such an amazing platform. And so, without further ado, let's get to today's episode.
What do you do for fun? Do you get to see friends? Do you have any social time? Like, well, I talk to people at work, but that is not a quality of life that anybody wants. And so how do we help people to decide what's important? How do we prioritize? Where are we investing our time so that we can be a whole person, not just trying to survive being a woman in today's society, which is not that easy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. And look, it's a big conversation wraps around where women were, where women are, and where women are going. But the facts are, as a society, we prioritize success more, and success looking, right? I'm successful because I'm doing the successful doing. Well, I have all this, I'm doing all this. So
grinding.
Right? And we prioritize that instead of joy, peace, fulfillment. We all got to work, right? Whether you're getting paid money or you're raising a family, that's work. And we have to show up and do these things, but you also have to get radically honest with yourself at what cost. What is it costing you? And sometimes you don't realize the cost until you are faced with a big health issue, which could be fertility. I didn't know that I was quote unquote sick. I didn't think I was unhealthy until I couldn't get pregnant and was diagnosed with unexplained infertility, low egg quality. And the only thing that woke me up was the doctor saying, oh, well, there's nothing you can do about it. And that seemed wild to me, that a functioning 30-year-old couldn't do anything to improve their cellular health.
I just heard somebody on the live today say that their doctor said absolutely never take CoQ10 or ubiquinol if you're trying to get pregnant. And I was like, I don't believe it works. And I was like, it doesn't matter whether you believe it. There's hundreds of studies that show the clinical impact of CoQ10 on egg quality. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
this is her fertility doctor,
That's going back to why I teach intuition and discernment so much. You put so much trust in, even AI, a doctor, an expert, and we are outsourcing our power to these things that we feel have more knowledge than us. Yes, there's guidance. Yes, some people do know a little bit more than us. But if you hear something and in your body, you're just like, that doesn't make sense. Like, that doesn't make sense. And look, there's going to be studies for the left and for the right, for working and for it not working. I'm sure we're probably similar on the folic acid debate, right? Like, I'm just sitting there going like, yeah, of course there's a study. It's junky 80 science. They've studied nothing else. And they've just said this one thing. It's in stone. That's it. I'm sure that possibly helps. But what about other factors? I mean, it's now how many years? 40 years? Have we not moved on?
More. There has never been a study. I'm writing a bunch of scholarly articles right now, and I was just writing a paper on this because I wanted to finish the conversation. I wanted to do a full literature review, see if I could find anything. While there are many studies that say that methylfolate, like when you find more methylfolate in the blood, like everything, there's never been a study that says that methylfolate actually prevents neural tube defects. And I'm just like, but how? Yeah, but I mean, how could it not? And half of the population can't use folic acid.
Yeah.
Like they're missing the enzyme. But even in an NIH study that I saw today, it showed that even people with MTHFR still absorbed the methylfolate. And I was like, I don't know how that's possible. Yeah. It's
the Wild West out there, no matter if you're using Western medical, everyone just has so many different opinions. And that's what it comes down to, someone's opinion based on their clinical study, their studies, their life experience, who they've worked with. So it's really down to you to choose, where you want to get your information for, who you trust. And once again, are you seeing success? If you are not seeing success, it's time to switch up. And I think a lot of people just get scared because they've invested so much time and money, and they get so frustrated. I get so many clients are like, well, my nutritionist said this, my acupuncture said this, my, functional medicine doctor said this. And I'm like, well, do you believe them? What has worked and what hasn't worked? Because it can't be all bad, right? It's really important for women. It's our time to reclaim that power back. And if not now, when? Because we are going to get to a stage where if we don't wake up, if we don't see this big epidemic in front of us, there's going to be major consequences on so many different health levels for us, for our children, for our future grandchildren. And can feel overwhelming. And it could feel like, well, why me? Why do I have to do it all? It's just a choice. It is you. I can't say anything else. It is you. You're the only one who can do you. No one is coming to fix you.
And don't be a victim. And I don't mean that flippantly. It's not a powerful position. And I don't want that for any woman. Why did this happen to me? It just happened.
Yeah.
It just happened. Like how you lived produced this result. It doesn't mean that's your fault, because how you lived is how you got raised and how society told you and all of those things. Like your fertility is just a reflection of your life, like your whole life. And for me, I was an elite competitive athlete my whole life as a gymnast and a tennis player. When I was 18, I started not being able to hold a tennis racket anymore. I started throwing the tennis racket every time I tried to hit the ball. And then I got diagnosed with MS. I ended up going to acupuncture, and the acupuncturist said it was really important. It was the beginning of today. Like it got me to today. He said, look, when you were born, your disease was very weak and your constitution was extremely strong. You were a baby. You were just perfect. He said, since age 5 or 6, that's when I started being a gymnast. You trained and trained and trained and trained, and you used up every resource. Like by the time I was a teenager, I was training like 6 or 8 hours a day. I often threw up after every workout, and my dad would celebrate. He'd be like, you're such a badass. You train so hard. It was like we reward people for hurting themselves. And then, my doctor, my acupuncturist he said, what happened was like, you kept training, and your disease got stronger and your constitution got weaker. And around 18, we started seeing some weeks. You couldn't hold the racket, but you kept training, and then your foot stopped working, and then your leg, and then finally you couldn't walk without a cane, and then they diagnosed you. And so then the disease is here and the constitution is now down here, and my job is to flip those.
Yeah.
Okay. And when we do, you'll go into remission, hopefully. And then that was what happened like 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. And so it's the same thing with fertility. Like when you were born, for most of us, some genetic problems, very robust. But then what we eat, how we sleep, all those factors, how we think, how we interact, how we work, where we live, the chemicals we have in our house and we put on our bodies, they start to just erode our natural fertility. But that can be restored. We just have to figure out exactly what the problem was. And I think that what you were saying earlier about how it's like, should I do this thing or that thing or this thing or that thing? It's really about what I hope we can help people to do is look at a systems-based approach. That your fertility isn't one thing. People ask me, how do I fix low progesterone? I said, you don't. You fix the system that produces a low temperature that that if you fix that system and the temperatures come up on their own, you'll make your own progesterone. We don't need a Band-Aid for it. How do you fix a short luteal phase? You figure out why the luteal phase is short and why you have 1 day of bleeding. Maybe you're a vegan, but also maybe you can't digest. And also maybe, even though you're a vegan, you're not eating any B12 or iron-rich foods. All of those things play a role. And if we can systematically approach that, like we increase the likelihood of people's natural conception in the pilot by 260% in 4 months with no human interaction, not by, again, anything magic, but systematically finding like, where are the potholes? We don't have to get any of them perfectly right? They've got 2 days of bleeding. We know we have to make blood. I don't need a lab for that. Your energy is a 2 out of 10. I don't need a lab for that. I know you have adrenal failure.
Yeah.
I know that's why you're waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? We don't need functional medicine for this. Your symptoms will tell us exactly what's not working. And then it will tell us what is working as you start to improve it. And that way you get this natural feedback. So you're not guessing like, oh, is this working? Is this, it either is or it isn't. It's very binary. And if it's not, let's do something different.
Yeah.
And I think that's the fastest path.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think AI is gonna, or already has. So I find with AI, and I think maybe your system might be different, the pitfalls of
using AI.
Yeah, the asking the right questions, right? No, having the information in your brain for me as an expert in functional medicine and fertility and energetics, I can ask AI a certain question. It will give me an answer. I'll go, what about X, Y, and Z though? And they'll go, oh yeah, good point. So when you're coming in with not the knowledge using AI, does your app do something different for that?
So I would never use GPT for
Okay, good.
For fertility, or I mean, what I do, like I have a chronic illness and my daughter has an undiagnosed autoimmune disease. And actually GPT is very useful she has a lot of really weird symptoms and they have not been able to figure it out. And so like just going back and putting in all the symptoms and saying like, what are we missing? Where else should we be looking? But again, as a clinician, I know better questions to ask, right? I know how to like direct it. Our app is not like using GPT. It is basically like getting me as your fertility coach. The whole app is trained on over 10,000 consultations. We have a patented algorithm. So what's happening is the first thing that happens is you do a survey. Used to be an interactive conversation, but people didn't finish it because it took like 30 minutes. And I was like, well, I don't want to do a survey, but if they won't finish it, I can't give them access. That survey is designed to collect all of the information. Like what I realize is there are 5 categories that have to work for people to get and stay pregnant. They need to be able to make energy, conserve energy, and restore energy. They need enough blood and high quality blood that doesn't have clots in it messing up the lining. They need temperatures to be where I want them to be because I have a whole different, I'm not using temperatures for predicting ovulation, but actually a reference for many things. Temperatures, we need HRV as high as possible. So 70 or above is what I like to see. And then stress factors, which is hormones. So absence of PMS, not too much sawtoothing and those things. And so each of those categories from the survey, it then scores them. And so it's like your energy score, your sleep, your stress score, your hormone score, whatever. And then that tells the algorithm, where do we need to work? Anything that's not like a 17 out of 20, that's a place that's an opportunity. So instead of a problem, I'd say, listen, when you're just like in the dark and like, I don't know what's wrong, I'll just take everything. No, you have 1 day of bleeding. We got to fix that because you're not getting pregnant. There's nothing to implant there.
Yeah.
So then the algorithm, so you're not asking the algorithm so much, the algorithm is telling you. These are the supplements that, you need like high quality B complex and you need like, whatever supplements are appropriate for that person. We just recently switched to where now we had extremely high quality clinical grade supplements, but they were really expensive. Our customers were like, we need cheaper supplements. And I was like, I can't, we already don't have a lot of margin on them. If we go any lower, there's no margin, but I don't want to give you cheap supplements. I don't want to even give you like 75% quality of what I think is actually the right quality. And we just started working with a new manufacturer. So now in the app, they get a list of the recommended. They hit a thing, purchase it for them if they want it, and it packs it into individual packs, daily packs. So they just take a pack a day and they're equal or better to the quality of like Thorne or Mitochondria at about $50 or $60 a month.
Yeah.
Like In the past, even just our vitamin E, which was a ridiculous, like Annatto vitamin E, so good, $71. So now they're getting all of their supplements for $61. Same thing with the menu plans. There's like a chef AI in the app, and then the chef goes and looks at the dashboard, says, okay, this person has PCOS, so she's low glycemic, she has endometriosis, she's anti-inflammatory, she has no blood, so we need to give a lot of blood-building foods and iron-rich foods, but she's a vegan, and she wants to stay a vegan, so how can we do that without adding animal products to it? Do we need different supplements? Then she can track what she's eating, so she just takes a picture of her food, or if she's following her menu, she just clicks. If she hits the analyze button, the analysis will be like, okay, so Monica, I see that your energy is still like a 4 out of 10. And when we talked last time about sleep, still only getting 6 hours of sleep. What do I need to do to help you to get a little bit more sleep? Because if we can get you closer to 8, your adrenals are going to calm down. You're going to get more rested. You're going to be able to make better food choices and so on, you know? So that's how we use AI. Also, you can analyze your tongue in the app. That's part of the consultation. So stick out your tongue, do an analysis. And even in the web app, which has not been moved over to the other one, you can talk to me as an acupuncturist. So you can say, what is this person's Chinese medicine diagnosis? What points should I use and what herbs should I use? So if they're going to acupuncture, a lot of people live in cities where there's not even a board certified reproductive acupuncturist. They want to go to acupuncture. So the acupuncturist can consult with me about what to do, AI me, and we can make sure that everything that the woman is doing is on target to fix whatever those problems that have been identified: short luteal phase, low temperatures, fatigue, gut issues, whatever.
Yeah. No, it sounds like a really supportive app, like you say, for people who cannot access either financially or physically the people that they need. Okay, so I'm just going to play devil's advocate here.
Do it. I love it. Yeah.
So from my point of view, the clients that I get, one of the main things with diet is that they're still eating foods that they're intolerant to. They just don't know they're intolerant because they're healthy foods. So it's great that AI can throw out a meal program. Obviously, there's, you know, if you have an autoimmune disease, it's probably going to suggest you go AIP, right?
Exactly.
When you find out food intolerances, though, like I would do through an expensive test, but accurate test, does your program go, okay, this is the moment you need to get testing? Like, say you do 3 months of the food diet and things still seem off track. For my issue, I had a very silent autoimmune issue, undiagnosed until I got a blood panel about natural killer cells and stuff. So until I had that information, I was eating healthy. My cycles were like, you could not fault my health. Cycles good, sleep good, all that. The doctors didn't pick up on it. I wouldn't even think AI would pick up on it. Then when I got that test to say, hey, you still have high natural killer cells, you have gut impair issues, which I wasn't presenting with symptoms anymore, or at least I thought I wasn't. Does your app have a thing to go, hey, this testing might be needed?
Yes, they can always get recommendations. This app is not for the fringe cases. What I usually tell people is, what do you think about reproductive immunology? I think it's great, but I wouldn't do it until I would use the app for 4 full months. Because if you have gut issues, the gut is like, if you're saying I have a lot of gas, you didn't have these, but like if the person saying like I have a lot of gas and bloating, well, the app is then going to make recommendations. It's going to make easier to digest foods, right? More cooked foods, more warming foods, foods that are easy to digest but highly nutritious. Then it's like she's going to recommend, okay, talk to Kai so that you can work on your stress and blah, blah, do breath work, all that stuff. And then after 90 days, if that hasn't improved, then we have another layer of problems.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's where the app is then reconsidering, like, what should we do next to try to invent that? But what I can tell you is that, like, you know, even with my MS, I was so sick when I was 20. And within a year, I just didn't even have symptoms anymore. It took a whole year, you know? And so, like, I'm making this up. This is kind of from Chinese medicine marriage, but I don't think there's any clinical data on this. What I suspect is that in Chinese medicine, when you can't produce and maintain energy, you don't have energy to fund the immune system to behave correctly, right? You go here, you go here, you go here. And so you get all this erratic behavior. But typically, and I do work with a lot of MS patients, when you fix the foundation, when you start repairing the gut, it doesn't have to be perfect. A lot of this can even be done with food, not even necessarily supplements. food and stress, because you literally cannot heal the gut without managing and coping. People are like, well, I'm really busy, I can't not feel stressed, but we can teach you how to cope with it. We can teach you how to tolerate it. We can raise your heart rate variability so it doesn't get on you. This app is like, if somebody gets to 4 months and they are still like, if their score is above 70, once their score gets above 70, things are pretty locked and loaded. And if after 4 months they're not getting pregnant, I'm going to be talking to them. I'll call them because I'll be like, I want to see what's going, like, what are we missing, or what should you do next? But for $15 a month, you get a lot. And that's really the goal. What we want is for Conceivable to be the first line of defense.
Yeah.
Right. Just like small investment, really educate you, really learn about your body, learn about your potholes, where you need to focus on so that you can be really targeted, and then start doing other things.
No, I think it's a really great start. And I know from someone who has done the journey, you're doing all the right things. You follow the app for 4 months and it's still not working. Gaining that confidence in yourself of just like, hey, there's something deeper here. Whether it is you're eating foods or you haven't fixed the gut lining because of whatever reason, or the energetic side of what is going on. Even if you find yourself like you have access to this great information, it's personalized and you're not showing up for yourself. You're not doing the things that you know you need to do. Being aware, like there are going to be some really amazing things out there, and using that intuition and that discernment while you're doing these things, I think it's going to be a really powerful combination.
I think so too. I think that, I would love to have you come and do some talks for the Conceivable community, because this is like what you're doing is sort of after that 4 months. How do you start to get to the parts where there's still more deeper work to be done that can't be done by AI?
Yeah.
It's like we're using the AI to make fertility solutions affordable for all people. And, there's a lot of people who are making $20,000 a year. They still want to have a family, and they often have the least amount of awareness about their bodies. And so for me, they're really special to me, but trying to find ways to help them see that this doesn't have to be overwhelming. It just has to be organized and strategic.
Mm-hmm.
If you can do it in a way that you can really track and show progress. If the person's not doing what's being recommended, they're supposed to be tracking what they're doing. And then the update comes in like, well, your score stayed the same.
Yeah.
Help me understand how I can help you to drink more water, or whatever the small thing is. There is a lot of benign ambivalence about parenthood. Your biology is telling you, I want to have a baby so bad, but it's really scary. The future is uncertain. We're living, if you live in the US, in a political situation that's highly volatile and unpredictable, and who knows what's going to happen, especially for women who are getting pregnant or their daughters. That is a piece of the conversation that almost no one is talking about, because if you talk to women who are trying to get, and they're like, I am not ambivalent. And I was like, I promise you are. Everybody is. It's a scary. And once you get there, you're like, oh my God, what have I done? This is so hard.
I think there's not a lot of radical responsibility because we pattern the way we pattern. We don't see our own BS. Our ego keeps us safe. And, whether or not you want to admit, and this is a big thing that I see in the field, you're so wrapped up in your own BS. We all are, right? Like it's not a judgment.
Professionals at it.
Right. And we've been trained so well to be fine and get on with things. It's not until you take that radical responsibility for yourself and to, we trigger, oh, we've been good. Oh no, we've been all right. That I only, not did what I needed to do 3 times, where if you are really being radically honest with yourself and maybe tracking it so it's tangible, whether it's on a piece of paper or in an app, you can look back and go, okay, that's why I'm not seeing the results that I want, because I'm not showing up for myself. And that's where you have to do the unpacking. Is it because I am scared of the future, of the whole world everywhere needs a cookie and a hug, right? Am I running patterns that my mom did and I don't want to be my mom, right? Am I scared of birth? That's a huge one for people.
It's scary.
So there's so many underlining layers that need to be unpacked if you feel like you're doing everything right and not seeing the results. Give yourself time, give yourself space, be radically honest, and then maybe start showing up in a different way, understanding that what a lot of people don't either realize or don't want to accept, because it took me a while to accept this too, is that every physical element has an energetic blueprint, a reason why. Yes, your way that you lived your life, most of us unconsciously, exacerbated that medical issue.
Yeah.
But I know for me, because I got curious and I had this like silent autoimmune issue, and I couldn't eat tomatoes for like a decade. And I was just like, okay, maybe there's some genetic factors in my, my DNA that makes me more sensitive to this stuff. But what emotions and frequencies got imprinted in me that makes me even more highly susceptible to a tomato giving me gut health issues? You need to really look at that stuff and figure it out. It will help you not have to just manage symptoms with your diet, with your lifestyle. You have a little bit more wiggle room, right? Like, yes, if and you have a genetic issue and go full out with drinking and smoking and all that, it's going to come back. But you're not going to do that. You're going to have more room to not get those triggers and not have to micromanage your food and supplements. You're going to have more flexibility with your life. Once people understand that about their realities, I think it's going to be that little ripple, those little waves of like, oh, I have this knowledge. Oh, what are you doing differently? Oh, interesting. Maybe I'll get curious and explore that.
I think you're absolutely right about how, it's just so easy to think that there's a very easy, straightforward answer, and that somehow this happened to you and that everybody else is getting pregnant. I always try to tell people to use this phrase. I don't know where I got this. It was out of a book that I read recently, but that things don't happen to me, they happen for me. Even infertility and even loss and whatever. I had a big opportunity to practice that recently. The house that we were living in had toxic mold twice, and it was a rental. And the second time I kept seeing patches of mold in the house, and my daughter was so sick, and I have a little tiny chihuahua who was coughing like crazy all the time. And, finally they found toxic mold in the AC unit and all the vents. We had to throw all our furniture away. We had to move out overnight. The landlord's like, you can get out, but you have to, it was the last day of the month. He's like, but you have to be out by tonight. Otherwise you owe me rent tomorrow. And then he wouldn't respond to the people trying to lease me a new place. So the places would get leased. And, everyone's like, I can't believe this happened to you. I can't believe this happened to you. I was really starting to become a victim. Like, this guy screwed us. First of all, my daughter is about 60% better. So, like, right away, that's a benefit. It's bad that it had to happen this way. We found a place. We ended up in a condo. We didn't want a condo. We got 2 months free and a $1,500 gift card, which allowed us to replace everything that we threw away with no problem and no stress. And so, but you have to actually make an effort to change the story in your mind. For fertility, the changing the story is, okay, I really want to have a baby. I'm doing everything and it's not working. What's the opportunity here? This didn't happen to me. This is the opportunity for me to change some things that will allow me to be the mom that I want to be. And if you put it like that, we know that the health of mom at the time of conception and dad is the strongest predictor of the health of the offspring. So why wouldn't we take a little time to really give our children the best chance that they have? It's not guaranteed. You can be perfect and still have something wrong with your children, but you want to at least make the effort to not just band-aid a bunch of stuff together and get pregnant and hope for the best. Whereas if you're in great shape, I'm not talking Instagram shape, I'm talking health-wise.
Yeah.
You can be like, I was in the best shape that I could possibly be in, and that's all I can do for my child. But also, to your point, I really worked out a lot of things that I don't want to carry on to the next generation.
Yeah.
Habits, behaviors, thoughts, patterning, all of those things. And, if I was going to get to do it over again, I would be so excited to try to untangle and get rid of those things. So my daughter's 20 now, it's like some of the things that, sometimes I think like she's very sick with autoimmune disease and she saw me being sick. And I was like, maybe I taught her your offsprings.
Sorry, I think it cut off on the right time, but yeah, I agree with you. There's no going back. We did the best that we can. We have grace for ourselves, but to gain the knowledge, just gain the knowledge and apply it. That's the real work. the baby is the cherry on top. I always say I'm here to help create conscious mamas. And I know in my bones that 95% of people will get pregnant. There'll be some outliers, but the women who really show up for themselves, it's going to happen because your fertility is innate. It's innate. You do not have to fix your fertility. It knows what to do. Your body knows what to do. It just needs the right TLC.
And the right resources sometimes.
Yes. And so what we're here doing, and I think you're probably on the same path too, is helping these next generations of mothers to be a little bit more elevated in their consciousness so they can make better decisions. They can be the mothers they were created to be in the first place and break all the BS. And here's the thing, instead of saying, why me? Why do I have to do it? It's like, I'm glad it stops with me. I'm glad it stops with me and my children.
I like
don't
that.
have
I
to
love that
suffer.
actually.
So thank you so much for coming on. Please let our listeners know where they can find you and the app.
Yeah, you can head over to conceivable.com and we have Smart Ring, which is the first non-invasive glucose monitor because your blood sugar is actually pretty important for your fertility. You can check out the app and you can get either a pack or a personalized pack all at Conceivable. If you want to check me out on social media, you can go to Your Fertility Expert on TikTok. That's where I mainly am, although I'm on Instagram, but they're all mostly just TikToks, just repurposed.
Thank you once again for tuning in and becoming the conscious mama you were born to be. Remember, I wasn't some magical unicorn who stumbled into fertility success. I stayed consistent, I put in the work, and I made it happen. And guess what? You can too. And I have something for my loyal podcast listeners, but here's the key. This is only for women who are feeling burnt out, frustrated, and stuck in the cycle of endless research. And you're at a point where you are screaming, I have tried everything. Why isn't this working? This only works for women who are ready to take a radical responsibility for their journey and start listening to their body's innate wisdom. Because deep down, you know you can heal and achieve your ultimate goal. If that's not you yet, that's okay. Not everyone is ready yet to show up with ease, deeply connect to their energy, unlock subconscious patterns, and listen to their body's ability to come into full coherence. But for those who are ready, I'm offering something I only do with my paying clients, and this is a fertility breakthrough session. This is the first thing I do, even before I start really deeply working with someone in a coaching package. It's a deep dive session where we look at exactly where you are right now, what's keeping you stuck, and the easy shifts that can change everything. But fair warning, these sessions are very limited and go fast. So if you're interested in checking out my superpower for uncovering exactly what's been overlooked, jump into one of these free calls. They're deep, they're intuitive, and they're game-changing. The only way you can access this is if you actually personally message me. You can do it on your favorite platform, IG, TikTok, or at my personal email, monica@findingfertility.co. Not .com, because they wanted $3,000 for the M with just one word. And that word is dreams, obviously, DREAMS. And I'll make sure you get that link right away. Remember, this transformation happens when you stay committed to yourself. Trust your body, follow your intuition, make it possible. The links that you need are down below. And if you are still here and you absolutely love this podcast, please take some time and leave me a review and help other women like you find this podcast to get the support they need. Help a sister out. Leave a review today.